Disney dining plan. I've promised to do this video, I don't know how many times, my tips, my tricks, whether you need table service, quick service. This is going to be a deep dive as quick as possible, my thoughts on the Disney dining plan, and help you hopefully decide which option is right for you on your trip. Quick overview of the Disney dining plan. At the moment in the UK, Disney are offering free Disney dining if you book a trip for 2027. They tend to release this offer every year, but don't bank on it basically. But at the moment that offer is live, which means that depending on the tier of hotel that you book, you are entitled to some form of free dining. If you're staying in a value resort, you will receive one quick service meal a day. All of the resorts includes a refillable mug as well, which means you can use Coke Freestyle machines while you're on resort and across resorts across Disney. Anyway, I digress. If you're staying at a moderate resort, you get a quick service dining plan, which is 2 quick service meals and 1 snack per day. And if you're staying at a deluxe resort, you get the Disney dining plan, which is a quick service meal a day, a table service meal a day, and 1 snack. So one of the questions I've had quite a lot is, how do I manage to get the table service dining plan, which is the Disney dining plan, when I'm staying at a moderate resort where they only offer the quick service one for free? Simply, we upgrade it. You can discuss with your travel agent, you can do it on Disney's website, you can do it on most websites where you're booking it yourself. You can choose to upgrade to the table service dining plan. I have found actually that Virgin's website is quite tricky at which option is the correct option to choose for this. So I personally use one of the Virgin Holidays stores to be able to do that with a little bit more accuracy and less stress. But you can add it on. This year for 2026, when we booked it last year, it cost us around £1,000 for all 4 of us to upgrade for 2 weeks to the table service Disney dining plan from the quick service one that we got for free. And I'll go on to whether I believe that to be value for money or not in a sec. So depending on which level of hotel you're at, you can always upgrade to the higher level dining plan. So even if you were staying at a value resort, you could upgrade to a table service dining plan. If you decide that a table service dining plan is really important to you, you can play around with the prices to work out whether staying at a value resort and upgrading to table service is cheaper than staying at a moderate resort and upgrading, or even sometimes deluxe resorts are cheaper if you factor in that upgrade price as well. So kind of play around with it, and it may just depend on which resort you want to stay in anyway. But sometimes it can be cheaper to stay in a moderate and upgrade rather than staying in a value and upgrading. So just play around with it and see what you can do. It sounds great having the table service dining plan, but I want to cover off the cons of having the table service dining plan. As you know, we love it, we've used it for years, but there are downsides to it, and I don't want to sugarcoat this for you, and I want you to be able to make the best decision for you and your family going over there. So one of the biggest downsides is the cost of it, and I'm not just talking about the upgrade price. The table service dining plan requires tipping. I say requires, it is, we know, American tipping culture, we know. But it is expected, which means as a quick service dining plan, tipping is not expected, you're not being waited on, there is no service there, so you do not need to factor in tips into your spending money that you take over there. However, when you're doing table service dining, they expect a starting point of 18% of tipping. Obviously, it's subjective to the service and whatever that you've received. It does mean that the tipping element does mount up quite quickly and becomes an additional cost to your trip, and particularly a hidden cost that you may not have thought about. So if you are thinking of upgrading to the table service dining plan, make sure you have thought about the fact that it will cost you additional in tips once you get there. Planning is a huge thing when it comes to table service dining in Walt Disney World. If you're doing table service dining versus quick service, you need structure and itinerary to your trip. You cannot just wing it. As much as I would love to say it, because I'm very much a wing it kind of, let's wake up and see where the mood takes us kind of Disney World, Orlando trip kind of person, you cannot do that with the table service dining plan. You just can't. As much as you want to, you just cannot. 60 days out, you need to be making Disney dining reservations for the restaurants that you want, on the days that you want, and the times that you want. So you need to work out which parks you're going to be in, when, how long it's going to take you to travel to and from places. And for you, that might be too much planning, stress, organisation for maybe the first trip, or just in general. You don't want that level of structure to your holiday. It's meant to be relaxing. You don't need it. There's plenty quick service options out there. It's not all burgers and chips. It's not all nuggies and chips. There are some incredible quick service options out there. If you want me to do a whole video on my top 10 quick services that aren't your traditional fast food, I am more than happy to do that for you. There are some really, really good options out there. You don't have to have that kind of structured, more planned time for the table service dining plan if you don't want that for your holiday. And don't worry about just eating burgers and chips, because you won't. Trust me. I've got you. I will tell you where to eat, so you don't just eat burger and chips all the time. There is then the time that it takes to do Disney dining. Disney World can be a once in a lifetime trip for most people. Most people, it starts out as a once in a lifetime, then you get the bug, and we're 32 years later and we've visited 19 times. Anyway, we digress. So like I say, it can be a once in a lifetime trip. There is so much to fit in, and to add dining time on top of that might mean that you miss out on other things. A dining reservation can take between an hour and 2 hours. It depends on the restaurant and the style of food and all this, that and the other. And that is before you factor in potential travel time to the restaurant. If you're eating in the park, in a restaurant in the park that you're in anyway, don't really need to factor this in. But if you're heading over to Disney Springs to go to Raglan Road, or you're going over to Ohana's at the Polynesian, you also need to factor in the time that it takes to get you there. Which means that you're having less time in the parks and potentially less time to do rides and shows, and that might not be how you want to run your Disney trip. At the minute, we get quite a lot out of it as a family with my mum and dad, and we really enjoy sitting down and having those table service meals together. If it was just myself and Daisy going, I don't think I would upgrade to the table service dining plan. For that reason, we'd want to be bashing around the parks, we'd be doing as much as we could, and that's not to say that I dislike the way that we do it with my mum and dad. That is purely because I feel like it's a little bit different. And yeah, I'm waffling, but I think you know what I mean. Different scenarios warrant different things, which is why I'm trying to give you all of the pros and the cons to make that decision for your trip. Let's get away from the negatives and move into the positives of having a table service dining plan. Firstly, the food in Walt Disney World is insane. It is incredible. Some of the best restaurants I have ever eaten at are at Disney World, and like that the shepherd's pie in Raglan Road is just to die for. They are incredible, and if you have the opportunity to eat there, I would recommend it to anybody in a heartbeat. There are so many different options, and honestly, you'd be hard pressed to pick a favourite. You really, really would. There's so much to try. And that is one of the incredible things about that table service dining plan, because you get to eat at restaurants and qualities of restaurants that for little old me in the northeast of England are just not attainable otherwise. There is then your specialty dining, which is included in the table service dining plan. So things like character dining or firework packages are included in the table service dining plan, and we find them really, really beneficial, particularly the character dining ones. It means that we're barely ever waiting. I can't even remember if we did wait in a queue to see a character out in the wild or at their meet and greet or anything like that, because we met the majority of them at character dining. Daisy had really great experiences with them because it was a lot more chilled, there was a lot less pressure on her, and she really likes that type of way of meeting the characters. We did Tusker House, we did Hollywood and Vine. We didn't do loads, but the ones that we did Crystal Palace as well in the last trip. We didn't do loads, but the ones that we did, we got a lot out of them, which meant that we weren't spending time in the parks in those queues to do those meet and greets. So we got a little bit of time back there. And you can't lightning lane those meet and greets either. Whatever the queue is, you're waiting in it. If I was posed with paying for those out of pocket, I wouldn't, because in most cases they are buffets and I can't justify the price for the buffet food. However, when it is the same table service credit as it would be to go somewhere else, it's 100% worth it in my opinion. Then there are the firework dining packages, and I actually think that there's only the Fantasmic one at the moment. There used to be one in Animal Kingdom, but Animal Kingdom's nighttime share is no more. So you can do the Fantasmic dining package, which actually coincides, now I'm thinking of it, with a character dining as well. So the way it works is you select the Fantasmic dining package on the Disney World website when you're making the reservations. It tells you which restaurants within Hollywood Studios are participating. I'll put a list of them on screen, but the one that we normally go to is Hollywood and Vine. Hollywood and Vine has most of the Fab Five characters. So this time it was Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Goofy. So the only one missing was Daisy. Sadly, we love her to bits. We were able to do a character dining experience, get some food, and then the Fantasmic dining package gives you priority seating to see the Fantasmic show, which means that you get to sit dead center. That middle bank of seats is reserved for people using the Fantasmic dining package. You don't have to queue up really early. You can show up like 10-20 minutes before the show. And for me, Fantasmic is a show that I cannot miss, and I have to say every single time it is like top tier, just almost the same as Happily Ever After. The fact that it costs us the same, whether we're eating at the restaurant or we're doing the Disney dining package, it's either 1 credit to eat at the restaurant or 1 credit to do the Fantasmic dining package at the same time. It's a no-brainer for me, and it's a massive, massive benefit of having that table service dining. I'm talking a lot about big food, but it also includes snacks. Snacks are anything from a Mickey Premium bar, popcorn, to a Starbucks, to eating around the world if you're there at Food and Wine or one of the festivals. You just need to look for this logo on any snack. It can be crispy treats, toffee. I'm not sure if toffee apples are included because they might be a bit more pricey. The main thing we use snacks for is Starbucks. So at Starbucks, you can get any drink, and I mean any drink with any extras in for a snack. So I find that this is a really, really good use of a snack credit because they can be quite pricey. I get a strawberry acai refresher light ice Trenta size, which is one as big as your head. Every time. My dad gets a really big iced coffee with like all the extra shots, and they would be really, really expensive. I think it comes to about $20 for the 3 of us to get a drink from Starbucks, which comes out of 3 snacks. I would say keep an eye on your snacks. Do not scrimp on your snacks at the start of your trip. I fall into this hole every single time and start scrimping on my snacks to start with. And if you saw in the last Walt Disney World video, you will have seen that we had 28 snack credits to use before we left that day. And we did spend them on treats that we brought home, and I've still got some to eat in my little cubby as well. The snacks are a huge benefit, but you get that regardless of whether you're doing quick service or you're doing table service dining. The biggest question I have had is, how much did you save by having the Disney dining plan? And I have the receipts. So I have spreadsheeted it. If we would have purchased all of the food that we had during our stay, bearing in mind we still had quick services left, I touched on that in the last vlog, we would have spent out of pocket in cash, and this does not include the extras that we added on top, this is purely everything that was covered by the Disney dining plan, we would have spent £4,679.35. And I'll be honest, I think I've missed a couple off there as well. That is insane. I've done a bit of girl math with it. So the total holiday cost was £10,173 for all four of us, park tickets, flights, the lot, and dining plan. Assuming park tickets were about £500 per person, which I actually think they were more like £600, which is £2,000. And then if we deduct the economy flight ticket as well, that is a further £2,340 that we've removed. So we'll do a running total on the screen. That means that the hotel and dining plan cost left was £5,833 for our holiday. If we deduct what we've actually spent from the dining plan, that means that what we paid to stay in the Disney hotel for 2 weeks was £1,153, which for a moderate hotel is £82 per night. And I don't think that's too bad, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So is the Disney dining plan worth it? And what I wanted to work out was, is it free? Is the main question. Because they say it's free, do they put up the prices? I have looked at a Walt Disney World trip, same hotel. I can't do the same 2 weeks, unfortunately, because I've been and gone, and next year they've got the dining plan offer on. I've looked at various dates over various months for the rest of this year to work out whether it is cheaper to book it last minute and just pay for your dining, or whether it is cheaper to actually get the Disney dining plan. And the answer is, it's cheaper to get the Disney dining plan, shockingly. So to have the hotel that is just cost us like just over £1,000, if you exclude the dining that we saved, to stay at Port Orleans Riverside for 2 weeks in one room, standard room, you're looking at pretty much £4,000 at any other time of the year when you're booking it, excluding flights. So just the hotel room if you're looking on Disney's website, which means we got that for £1,000 because we had the dining plan, which to me says that, is the dining plan free? Yeah, pretty much it is. So the room itself would have come to £4,000. We spent £1,000 to upgrade the dining plan, and we've spent pretty much £4,500 on the dining plan, which is just insane. As I've said before, if the Disney dining plan option wasn't free, we wouldn't spend on food like that. However, if you're planning on eating in the parks and you want to stay in that Disney bubble, the dining plan is essential. I have stayed off site, we've eaten off site, and it's still not obviously free. It still costs a bit. I'd say if you were eating off site, you're looking at a minimum of $50 per person if you're kind of scrimping a little bit, because you'll want snacks and breakfast and tea, and I'm not kind of incorporating lunch in that. You're looking at £2,600 anyway. So yeah, for me, the Disney dining plan is a no-brainer when it is free with the Disney stay. You get all the other perks of staying on site as well, with the buses and just the cast members, the quality of the service, like it is unmatched. Conclusion, would I recommend the Disney dining plan as the free option and booking and staying on Disney with that? Yes, I would. Which option would I choose? It depends. It depends on the type of holiday I'm looking for. Quick service, I can see being really beneficial if you're 2 parents, 2 kids, kind of like young-ish kids around like the 7 to 10 to 12 mark who aren't interested in really nice food. I would say quick service is better for you. You're going to be wanting to be in the parks, the kids are going to be wanting to do the rides, and they won't want to take that time out to do the dining. It could be beneficial for the characters, but weighing up the options, I would probably go quick service. However, if you are a bit of foodies and you love having that evening family meal, table service is for you. So I hope that has helped you understand a little bit more about the Disney dining plan. If you've got any further questions, please let me know. Feel like I've said Disney dining plan so many times in this video. Yeah, let me know if you've got any further questions. I will be more than happy to help. Any other topics you want covering on anything Orlando, Disney, Universal, the lot, I'm here to help. I want to give you all the information I can so that you can plan the Disney World, Orlando, Universal trip that is right for you, that is not right for me. If you found this video useful and the information has been helpful, if you would hype it, that means a lot. It also pushes it out to other people that might need these helpful tips and tricks. Like, comment what you prefer. Are you table service? Are you quick service? Let me know. And I'm going to love you and leave you because I need some food. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to make your own magic, because if you don't, no one else will. Bye!